Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the SH Figuarts Monkey D. Luffy. This is, of course, the version from Romance Dawn. So this is sort of like the version 1, if you want, sort of season 1 version of the character. And I'm pretty excited about this character. I'm pretty excited to be getting sort of anything from One Piece. I admittedly got into One Piece as a result of the live action Netflix show and am way behind on the anime, but very excited to get the anime style figures, because the live action figures don't do as much for me. I prefer, a more animated style figure. So here we have Monkey D. Luffy, the first of my collection, maybe the last, maybe not. We'll see how this goes. Let's take a look at the packaging. So in SH Figuarts style, we get the nice cutout, and then, a photo or a render, I'm not sure which, on the side there. On the bottom, we get Monkey. On the top, this is a really cool thing. So the cutout for the window, like, this is the clear plastic bit, but the cutout is in the shape of the straw hat, which I think is just a really cool detail to include. The attention to detail with SH Figuarts is always very good, but when I noticed that, I was very impressed. On the side, of course, as we always get with SH Figuarts, more call outs to some of the different face sculpts in this case. On the back, we get different face sculpts, we get some of the poses, and then we get sort of the normal text that you see on SH Figuarts figures. On this side, again, as we normally do, we get Monkey D. Luffy, Romance Dawn, so you get sort of the name for the figure just about every time on that side of the box. So there is the box, but realistically, what's exciting about this is more so what's in the box. So let's get Monkey D. Luffy out of the box. All right, so here we have him out of the package, and the figure looks fantastic. There's some really cool stuff going on with the articulation as well. So let's, get into that. First of all, there's often a difficulty with skinny, slender figures to have the joints look really awkward and really bad, but they've done an incredible job with this figure of making it so that when you bend that elbow, his elbow's not super pointy. The wrist, to the hand, looks fantastic. There's not a really weird, awkward break in the sculpt like you sometimes see. So that is very impressive. He doesn't have sort of the fold-out butterfly joint that you see in, say, for example, a Dragon Ball Z SH Figuarts figure. But they did put sort of a weird sort of extra joint bit in there to allow the arm to sort of get into some positions that he can't just sort of on a normal hinge or on a normal sort of joint. So very impressive there. Good articulation in the torso as well, and in the waist, with that sort of little extending piece that you see sometimes, I think is in there, but I can't, they've done a good job to actually make it so that you can't really go too far past it, that you don't have any weird big gaps, or at least I can't sort of get it to have those big weird gaps. Again, the legs very slender, but they've done a very good job with the articulation on those as well. The ankle joint is not perfect. The ankle joint, there is a little bit of sort of a break in the sculpt, but it still looks very good. It's very well executed. Another cool thing that they've done here, and well, one of these I've folded up and one of them I didn't pull it back down. The back of the shorts has an articulated piece, which seems like a weird thing to put, but it actually makes perfect sense, because when you bend the leg, it would effectively sort of stop there if you couldn't fold that up, which allows the knee to fold up even further. So I think that's a very cool way to do that. And they put a hinge, or they put a joint sort of inside the leg here. So the knee has, a hinge, a joint, but there's articulation, inside the short as well, which again, this is sort of 2 for 2 in the last SH Figuarts figures that I've unboxed. The Tanjiro from Demon Slayer had a lot of like really really sort of novel solutions to little problems like that, and this is the exact same. The last piece of articulation that I will point out, because I sort of looked at the sandal and sort of grabbed the foot and tried to bend the toe and it wouldn't bend, and I couldn't figure out why, and it was because I had my thumb under the sandal. The whole sandal is attached to the toes, which makes sense because that's, you know, how this style of sandal would work. So just a lot of really cool engineering going on with this figure. I'm very, very impressed with, you know, how well engineered such a small, slender figure is. Very good representation of the character. I will say this, it feels a little bit light even with the accessories, but I understand why they've done that. This is sort of a price point SH Figuarts figure. This is one of those figures that they're sort of hoping that you'll pick up, and then by extension, you know, pick up the other figures. I can't wait for the accessory pack to come for this guy, the extended, or the gum arms, and a couple other things. So I think you can sort of build on this character by sort of adding additional characters that come with more pieces and then buying that accessory pack. But, you know, what you get here is a really, really good base. And as I said, it does come with some accessories. They're relatively simple, but they do kind of add a few things. And there's a, you know, certainly a couple things that are pretty cool in there too. So let's take a look at the accessories. All right, so starting with the hands, we get some open hands. We get some kind of emotive hands, I guess. I don't know. What do you call the hands? How do you sort of... I don't know. And then we get a mismatch set. So he's got fists, you know, out of the box. We get a pointing finger, which suits the character very, very well. And then we get a fist that will allow us to hold an accessory. And that accessory is, of course, a big, giant chunk of meat. Now, initially, I thought, okay, this hand is great. The chunk of meat looks great. But the thumb is like attached. Like how am I gonna do that? But again, you know, SH Figuarts thinks of everything. So one of the bones actually slides right out, so it can slide right into the hand. As I sort of demonstrate very poorly. And plugs back into the meat there, and I put it on upside down, so I gotta switch it around. There we go. That's better. It is keyed, which is why I can't get it in properly. So you get this hand that holds the chunk of meat. Now, what's interesting is that I don't know if there's other accessories that this hand will be able to hold, but like with other, you know, I've had some Dragon Ball stuff where the hand sort of comes with the accessory almost preloaded into the hand, but they've not done that with this. So I'm sort of curious, you know, if there will be more uses for that kind of thing. But we shall see. As I said, if I get other figures, maybe that will become relevant. Now, moving on from hands, we get some alternate face sculpts and sort of head parts. The most relevant, since we're looking at that meat, is the the face sculpt with the chunk of meat between the teeth, which I think goes really, really well with you know, the big chunk of meat. Again, SH Figuarts' attention to detail is always very, very good. We get an outraged face. We get the very excited face. This is going to be my display face. No doubt about it. That is going to be the face that I display the character with. And then, you know, he is very well known for his straw hat. So, of course, we get the straw hat. And this is sculpted very, very well. The band, I can't tell if the band is painted or if there's two pieces to this hat. I'm not really sure. But it looks very, very good, you know, stitched back up, which is, you know, they did a really good job with this. Again, as I said, attention to detail is fantastic. on this figure. Now, the hat does not fit on that hair. So what's SH Figuarts going to do about that? Well, they are going to give you another head that allows for the hat to mount on there. And of course, the hair that's on the front there needs to be replaced as well. So you get the hair piece to go with the, and I'm going to actually put this together so that you can sort of see. If you've not sort of had SH Figuarts, this is all very standard. So you get these face plates, you get these alternate pieces, and then you just have to kind of figure out how they all work. But they all work pretty much the same, so it's not really that complicated. I say as I struggle to put this together. I don't struggle, but it's I don't want to do it wrong. So there you go. So that is the sort of slick head, and that's keyed as well. So they very often key stuff like that if it's necessary, and if it makes sense to do so. I'm trying to get this hair piece to sit properly, and they will usually sit one way properly, and if you don't do it properly, it won't quite sit right. But you can see that it's tooled to fit this perfectly. And then, of course, the hat kind of actually sort of, the hat is keyed front and back. So I'm trying to figure out the trick without reading the instructions. There it is. Oh, I thought I had it, but I didn't. Okay, let me try this one more time. Okay, that in first, that in second. There we go. That's what it's supposed to look like. So there you go. You get the straw hat on. It's not adjustable, so that's maybe my only complaint. My very, very slight nitpick is that you can't sort of adjust the angle of the straw hat. But for me, you know, that face sculpt plus the straw hat, that is going to be the display for the figure. As I said, you know, a pretty minimal amount of accessories, but bang on for what you need for the character. I think there's nothing more that I would want, at least to display this character. As I said, the gum arms, or whatever they're calling the accessory pack, is going to be awesome, because as I said, I think, you know, getting the posability for this guy with sort of the actions that he has is kind of important. But as far as a display piece, as far as, you know, getting the character in the collection, this figure is pretty phenomenal. I'm going to get him accessorized to some extent. Basically, I'm going to change the hands and the head and get him posed up a little bit and give my final thoughts. All right, so here is the figure all sort of decked out the way that I will probably display him on my shelf. I'm not 100% certain. I just really like this look. This was right on the front of the box, so I kind of just went with this. I picked this figure up from ecollectibles.ca, and they are very quickly becoming my kind of go-to for SH Figuarts, just because, you know, their customer service is great and their selection is usually pretty good. And typically, if I reach out and say, "Hey, are you getting this?" If they weren't, they they often do. So shout out to Mike and the guys at eCollectibles for getting this one for me. This is definitely a figure I would recommend if you are a One Piece fan, or if you are an SH Figuarts fan. It's a very, very good figure. You know, I'm doing this video in the last week of December, and I am struggling to sort of narrow down my top 10 for the year, as I keep getting a bunch of really great figures right at the end of the year. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, we'll see. He's not going to be number one on my list, but he's definitely going to be on the long list for the top 10. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you don't want to miss future videos, hit the bell icon to get notifications. Until next time, bye-bye!